morning. Welcome to Caffeinate Your Career. Today's topic is, are you a boss or leader in your job search? I'm your host, the career coach with the most, Jason Hopper. With me today is my co-host and the sensational Senior Director of Career and Financial Services, Ms. Allison Harding.
Hi, everyone.
Allison, welcome to Caffeinate Your Career.
Thank you.
I am checking, and we are live. So there's a big difference between a boss and a leader. And really what it comes down to is the mindset of both. We talk about job search a lot.
We do.
A lot. But really, more than anything, job search is a mindset game. Like, you can teach your clients everything they need to know to be successful, but if they don't have the right mindset going into it, none of it's really going to work.
Right. So Jason and I were talking about this particular topic, being a boss or a leader. Many of us have worked for different people through our entire careers. Even if you've been at the same company for a long time, you've probably had a couple of different managers. And some managers you absolutely loved working for. And those people were probably leaders versus a boss who oftentimes will micromanage or will not manage you well for you to be able to excel, which would help them to excel. So
Right.
When we talked about this, we thought, you know what? We do this with our career search too.
Yeah. That's, people get promoted and put into management positions for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are not good reasons because
Right.
it doesn't it's one of it, longevity is one of them.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, you've been here for 13 years. You should run your own team. But not necessarily.
No, I shouldn't.
Maybe you're not good at running your own team, right? Maybe you just be the best number two, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but
Right.
then it happens and then nothing really gets anywhere. I thought what we do is start just by what we normally do, which is break down the topic and discuss what a boss does versus what a leader does. And then how does that apply to your job search, that way of thinking? So the first one, of course, is a boss just manages employees.
Mm-hmm. And a leader inspires them. So what does that mean? A boss can come in and say, do this, 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 and this, and it has to be done by 5:00. They're not supporting you or helping you get to your goal of being able to finish whatever project is. Whereas a leader would come in and say, we have this goal to complete by 5:00 today. These are all the aspects of it. I'd like everybody to work on it. Does anybody need any help deciding how to go about looking at this?
Right.
And the same with job search.
Right. Bosses basically just delegate.
Right. And you
that's
delegate to
it.
yourself. I'm going to look online
Yeah.
for jobs.
Right.
Where a leader might say, hey, I'm going to look online, but I'm also going to network. I'm also going to go to organizations who can help me. I'm also going to talk to people or people that I used to work with. I'm going to inspire myself to do different things.
Right. A boss is going to blame others when things go wrong. It's never their fault. It's always, somebody or somebody else's fault. Whereas a leader
is going to look at what happened, digest it, break it down, and be able to solve whatever it is that went wrong, and also take responsibility for it. So when a leader or a boss looks at something that went wrong and can't solve the problem and just blames other people, two things are going to happen. One, the bad thing's going to happen all over again because there was no solution.
Correct.
And two, you start losing the respect of the people with whom you're managing. and working with.
Yeah, and then of course it ends up being more of a toxic type of environment versus one that is where you have a leader and it's more collaborative. I think that's one of the main, that is a main difference between a boss and a leader. Is a leader is going to find solutions and work with the team to actually solve the problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, how do you do that when you're your boss and your leader yourself? Like for job search.
Well, so one is make sure that you have accountability. It can be helpful to create an accountability group. I've had some clients that
why don't you explain what that is?
So accountability group is a group that meets on a regular basis and is making sure that everybody is hitting their goals and that they are progressing and moving forward within the group. If we don't get all our goals met, your accountability group should also be there to help you get back on track and keep you inspired.
Yeah. So sometimes people like working by themselves and they can be their own accountability group. Other times you need other people to, Jason used a great word, inspire you. And that inspiration can help you look at different ways to improve your search so that you will be able to find the right job that's fit for what you want to do and what your skills are.
Yes. By the way, we are live. I can see that we are live, although LinkedIn just kind of went sideways, so I can't see the feed. So if you do see us live, let me know in the chat.
If you can.
If you can see us.
If
we can see the chat. So I think I can because I did was able to do a like. So, but it does say we are live still. So also another difference between a boss and a leader is a boss will not have any personal relationships with their employees, right? Whereas a leader works to foster and build trust.
Right. And that trust is more than just walking in and saying hello. That trust is working to, I'm going to use your word again, inspire or to help create or build relationships that finds the best in the people with whom you're working and grow that so that they can become the best person they can in that position. At home, when you're looking for employment, your relationships with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, everybody can be your inspiration to be able to continue to do a better job for yourself.
I think that it makes a difference with like who you are working with. You're spending 8 hours a day with these people. You should kind of like them. Right? I mean, and if you don't like them, at least be professional enough to be able to work with them, hopefully in a collaborative manner.
Right. So oftentimes a boss will be very distant, and some people work well like that, others don't. Where a leader, whether you're distant or close, whether you want to be told what to do your job and go home, or if you need more camaraderie, build up all that type of stuff. It's important that you know your team so you know how to help them achieve and grow.
I think that's, yes. And also too, though, it's interesting because I remember I went on an interview and the question I was asked was, do you need to have friends at work?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, because when you break it down, it's like, is this going to be like your social outlet? Are we just going to hang out?
Is this your playground?
Or are we going to be able to get things done? Right? And so...
How did you answer that?
I said no. I said I am very collaborative and creative and like to work with other people in the team, but I don't have to be friends with them.
So how would I have answered that? I would have probably said, do I need to have friends at work? No. Do I like to have friends at work? Yes, because I like to be collaborative and all that stuff. And as you get to know people, you know how to work with them better.
Yeah. Well,
your answer was perfect, but I want
it was okay. It was
good.
It was, you know what? I wasn't expecting that question.
It
was definitely a curveball question, and I was like, right? Like, how am I going to answer that question? But like, and I'm gonna piggyback off of that and use me as an example. Like, I had a rough year last year. We had some family stuff that was going on, and you knew, of course, because you're the senior director of our department, and my immediate report knew, but not everybody on the team knew what was happening, and certainly not everybody in the organization knew what was happening. And the reason for that is because I have friends outside of here for that support to help me with that thing. I don't need the team involved in that. And since then, it's resolved itself, and now everybody pretty much knows what has happened because it was a good ending, and it was good. But I didn't need everybody. Like, oh, are you okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't need that. I don't want that from the team, even though I like the team, but because I have that somewhere else. I have friends for that, right? That's the difference.
So I also think that when you do have challenges outside of work, and Jason does have a lot of friends outside of work, but he did come in and speak to two of us, and we did discuss ways to look at it and to get additional assistance.
Yes.
So had we not had that relationship.
Right, because it's built on trust.
Right.
Because if you were a boss, you wouldn't give a crap about me, my problems, what's happening. It's like,
this still has to get
go
done.
Do your work. Yeah. Like, all right.
Right. And so being a leader, you take into account how that person feels for that period of time and adjust what they need to be doing to be able to help them and still get the work done.
Right. Correct.
Because that is the end goal still.
Yeah. Well, yeah, work has to get done.
Right. But not having to strong arm someone into it and working with them.
But but for me, if I have something to do and focus on besides the other external stuff that's going on, I come out much better about it because it can't be the one all-consuming thing in your life. I mean, you still same thing for job search.
Right.
Like job search is hard.
It is hard, folks.
I say all the time, if job search was easy, everybody that wanted a job would have one. It is a hard grind. And if you have other things that are happening in your life, it could be even more difficult to go through the process, which is pretty much like what we do here is help job seekers create a process to help them meet their career goals. By the way, if you need help in your job search and creating that process, you can call us at 972-437-9950, extension 379. Leave a message and somebody from the team will get back to you in 24 hours. That's a good segue.
And also remember that we have mock interviews next
week. Next Tuesday, guys, is we have a practice interview program. We do it virtually. It is 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock Central Time. You can participate anywhere in the world because it's virtual. I do have a few spots left, but they go quick. I expect them to be filled by the end of today. So if you want to do it, first come, first serve. Otherwise, you get on the wait list when somebody cancels, which almost inevitably happens. It happened last week. Somebody canceled at the last minute. So email me. My email is the letter J, Hopper, HOPPER at jfsdallas.org. And send me an email. Tell me what time you want to do it, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock Central. And we will get you in the interview with the team.
So, terrific advertisement. Thank you. I liked your commercial. So getting back to, are you a boss or a leader for yourself? How do you designate how you are and who you are?
Well, it's a great segue, Allison, and next set up for the next part of this. So a boss just manages people. Are you, in your management of yourself in the job, are you just sitting at the computer doing nothing but applying to jobs and hoping something is going to happen? Because as a tactic, I can tell you that's not going to work.
So when people do that, we get so many people who get in touch with us and say, I've applied for 200 jobs and have not had a response. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And so as a boss, you look at it and say, oh, they're wrong, and I'm just going to keep grinding. As a leader, you look at your resume, at the jobs you're applying for, at the skill set, at what the requirements are for the job, and say, I can apply for these jobs, or I know I'm qualified for them. I'm not getting any feedback or any responses. I need to make some changes.
Yes. Well, it's not only that, but are you working on, so leaders work with others, collaborate. Do you have somebody you can talk to? Because we've talked before, like job search itself is kind of lonely, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just you. It's not you and a whole team of people trying to find you a job. It's
right.
just you. But are you creating content on LinkedIn that showcases how you solve problems or sets you up as the expert in the field? Are you trying to help others in their job search? Like, hey, I can't do that because I'm not an executive admin, but Kathy is, and maybe she would be interested in that job, and you pass it along, right? Are you, again, it's the mindset. Are you going to be closed off in your job search, or are you going to be open to different ideas and opportunities?
Right. And in that job search, you have to look at that resume that was created. And if it's not getting you the responses that you are expecting, there's things that need and have to be changed. And we've talked about this before. Your resume has to have the skills that are required or needed in numerous different jobs. But if you put things on there that have absolutely nothing to do with the requirements of that job, it's not helping you. It's not helping you because a recruiter doesn't want to read through dozens of things that aren't expected on the job or aren't beneficial for the job.
Well, that's why it's important that you tailor your resume to the job posting that you're going to be applying to.
And that's what a leader would do. A boss just
vomits right,
information.
Yeah, this is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you had that though, right? You told the story before. You had this thing that you just really loved about your career, and you thought it was great, and nobody. So that's finally a friend of yours, a recruiter, was like, "Take that off." You're like, "No, I love it." It's like, "Take it off," and then people started calling you.
Yeah, I mean that's really true. I did it, and I was a recruiter for years. So the problem was I was trying to be a boss of myself instead of being a leader. And when I started talking to other people, I said, that's useless. It's useless information. Nobody cares. And I'm like, well, I care. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter that you care.
You're not hiring me.
The employer doesn't. I think too.
And so you have to be open. A leader is open and collaborative and willing to change and accept what other people say.
I think that right there is a big part of it. Is, are you going to be open to change? Or is it just going to be like this one thing? I had a client who was just dead set on working for a specific company, just this company. This is it. I'm like, you need more targets. like even though you're connected to the recruiter, have a relationship with the recruiter, know somebody else, like if they're not hiring for a role that you are suited for, it's not going to work. Like you need something else.
So one of the challenges, and this just happened with one of my clients, is no matter what you feel or what you think or what you believe, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So if you are applying for a job and you're on the third interview, you still have to be applying and looking and networking and building your brand and doing all those other things. You can't just depend on that one job, because you never know when somebody might fly in and have that one thing that is more or better, exactly what they're looking for, and you lose out.
Yeah.
And you have nowhere to go or nothing to do because you were so sure you were going to get this job offer.
That happened.
And it's painful.
It happens a lot. It happened to a client of mine last year. It's like everybody's, we're gonna even the CEO was like, we got it. We're getting that offer letter ready for you. And guess what happened?
It never came.
They went with somebody internal instead, and she had completely stopped her job search and had to start everything all the way over again. And it's hard. You got to keep that momentum going.
You do, and I understand. I mean, everything is going so well and so right and so positive, and you're on your second or your third interview, or they say, you are the perfect candidate, and you stop everything else. I'm the perfect candidate. I know I'm getting you can't do that, no matter how perfect it is. So we were talking, Brenda and I were talking to a client yesterday who was applying for a number of different jobs and actually was changing out of a profession she'd been in for a long time with skill sets with other things. And she had interviews at 3 organizations. One of the organizations gave her an offer, but she didn't stop because she felt she had more to offer and that she should be paid more. But she did accept that job. She was going to start in 3 weeks. In the meantime, she was still interviewing at these other places, and the second place, which she really liked and really wanted to go to work for, did offer her a job at a much higher salary using more of her skill sets. And she ended up taking that one, and lots of good things have happened. She did let the first one know something better came in, and I've got to accept it. She told them, but what I'm trying to say is she didn't stop.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because even though you may hear it from the hiring manager, the recruiter, like, oh my gosh, you are we think you're the best candidate for this position. But are you going to be the best fit for you in that company? Mm-hmm. Because we talk about interviewing, and the purpose of the interview isn't to get the job. The purpose of the interview is to sit there and listen to see if you can solve their problem. And then if it's someplace that you just want to work or not.
And those are all the things that you learn. And a boss isn't going to hear it all. A leader is going to take it all in. You have a problem. I can be your solution. Now, since we've established that, will I be happy here?
Yeah.
And so taking all those things into account is going to help you find the right place for you, because too often we accept a job not being 100% happy with what it's offering me, not necessarily money-wise, but environment, team, management styles, all the different things that create a day-to-day environment.
Yeah, I think that, when you look at boss-like behavior, it's not, and we said, bosses blame others. It's like, it's real easy to start to get into, they're not hiring me because of my age. I've been blacklisted in my industry.
Yeah, that one makes me crazy.
That's not a thing. The algorithm on LinkedIn is not pushing my content like it's supposed to, or even the hiring manager just didn't like me. Like, okay, well,
or the ATS.
The
ATS, so unfair.
The ATS is okay, well, there's ways around like all of those things. And I think like when we look at job search and where we get people that are frustrated comes in because they just don't quite understand how job search works, right? What they think is going to happen is they will apply to a job, they will get a call, they will get the interview, and then they'll get the offer. And that's just not how it works today.
Not today, because turnover costs companies so much money, and they don't want to spend that money on turnover. They want to spend it on research and development and being able to help their teams improve, even if it's being able to spend that money on better benefits or higher salaries or something like that. Turnover costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per position to replace.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons too why employers are making sure that they're finding the right fit for the role, because if they don't, again, they're going to be in the same position of hiring. And we just a few weeks ago talked to Sophia, right, who went through and interviewed with the team, Leah, Kath, like we want to make sure that this is going to be the right choice for us. And I think that's smart, just because otherwise we're back in the same position and losing money again.
Right. So one of the things you have on here, are you closed off in your approach to your job search? What does that mean, and how can you change your thought process?
Closed off, like you only are focused on the one thing, like my client who just wants to work for this one company. How do you change that process? Well, first you have to realize that the process itself is broken. This is, again, more of a leader type mentality, because if you aren't willing to first do the work to recognize I'm not getting hired or I'm not getting interviews at this company or because of this, what can I do to change it? And when I think you become more open and not defensive, then other possibilities like open up. I work with clients when they are in straight up career exploration mode. They don't know what they want to really do next in their career. So it's like, okay, well, how open are you to different types of things? Like you have skills, you're personable. Like, what do you think that you might want to do? Like, and then what I work on doing is breaking it down. What do you like to do? Like, oh, I like to go travel. Okay, well, have you considered working for a travel agency or hotels.com? Or, it's just like break it down to like options that they may not have thought of. And when you're more open to different possibilities, then things start happening at a different speed. And that's important.
Yeah, it is important. And being able to look at, let's say, Jason brought up a great point. Let's just take travel, just for the heck of it, because he brought it up. So there are airlines, there are hotels, there
cruise ships.
There are private airplane companies. Can't think what they're called.
Jets.
There are concierge type of flying. There are all sorts of different things at travel agencies. There are all sorts of different things you can do and look at. It's not just one area. So I have to work for Southwest. That's it. No, it doesn't work like that, because there's a plethora of different companies where you can work and get great discounts on things. So you can fly there, but your hotel's only going to be 20% because you work for Hilton or Marriott or Hyatt or whomever it is. Those are all things that can benefit you if you like to travel.
Right.
So it's figuring out what to do, what you have a passion for, what you enjoy doing. I like to cook. If I were looking for a job, I'd probably go talk to some catering companies, or I'd talk to Sur La Table, which is they sell things for kitchens, but they also have to have cooking classes. I mean, there's all sorts of different things, but we put ourselves in a little box and say, I want to work at this company, or I can only do this. There's more to you than that. Everybody, no matter who you are, grow that box. Look outside that small area and understand that you have more capabilities of being able to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think that that's important. Is that growth mindset,
Really important.
especially in you know your not only your job search but in your career as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like what's the plan next, or what are we doing next? What's the next challenge, or where are we going?
Right.
Or do you have a place? Do you have that in mind?
Do I have a plan?
Do you have a plan? That's also too, right? So we talked about a boss doesn't really care about relationships. In today's job search, relationships are going to be key in getting you where you want to go. Whether it's somebody just giving you, getting that lead, making the introduction, or even getting you in front of a hiring manager. We talk about how the applicant tracking system is like going to block like 97% of everybody that applies. So it's like, how are you going to get into a job? You gotta talk to people.
So we hear many reasons why people got the job, which is wonderful. We love hearing those. We also hear many reasons why people don't get the job. What is one of the most common themes in why they didn't get a job that you hear?
Usually it's internalized, and it is, and I've heard clients say this so many times over the years, they didn't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it has nothing to do with you. They made a business decision. It's not that we didn't like, and also too, it's not that point. It's what really happened is somebody said something a little bit different than you did that resonated with the hiring manager more than what you said. That's it.
So the reason I get a lot is, and Jason had brought this up earlier, age discrimination. And there are things and phrases you can do. I am going to hire the most qualified person whether you're 25 or 55. I could care less. Because I, as a leader, have a job to accomplish.
Right.
And I want a team member to work with, whether I'm helping you get there at 25 or you're helping me get there at 55. I don't care how we do it. It's the person who shows the initiative and the desire to solve my problem. My problem is a vacancy. Show me how you can be a solution,
right,
and how we can work well as a team to be able to get that solution accomplished.
I think that our organization as a whole is very good at that.
I agree.
Also, too, if you're interviewing and you're interviewing and you're interviewing and you're not getting the offer, it's not because of your age. Don't use that as a crutch. Oh, they're not hiring because of my... No, you just don't interview well.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to, is you're not interviewing well. And then it's our job as your coach to try to figure out what is the problem in the interview. Mm-hmm. Are you not closing? Are you not asking questions? Are you just you're not excited to be there? Like, what's the problem?
Right.
It's not your age. It's something else.
I agree.
I mean, I'm not saying ageism exists. For sure.
Definitely
I'm not saying it does, but that it doesn't exist. It does. But if you're interviewing at multiple companies and not getting offers, it has nothing to do with the age. You just don't interview well.
Right.
I mean,
because there are terms and phrases that you can say that can endear you no matter what age you are.
But that's the other part of that. Are you going to be a boss and so be blaming or finding fault that's not there? Or are you going to be open and be like, well, I never thought to phrase it that way in the closing that, makes it interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. And a boss is going to blame ageism versus a leader's going to say, how could I have done this better? Because I really wanted that job.
Right.
So what can I do? And also the leader will look at that company and say, you know what, I didn't get that job, but I still want to work there. What can I do? They're going to create other solutions to let them know that I still want to be working there. And in that process, you let them know, I didn't get this job. I hope you liked me as much as I liked you in the company. If something else comes up, I'd really like you to give me a call.
That is a great point, and something that is what a leader does versus what a boss would do. Is a leader is going to continue to follow up with their contact at the company in case some other thing happens that another opportunity. I had a client 2 years ago, and she interviewed she interviewed for a role at the company that she was just laid off at, right? And she didn't get the interview. They told her, sorry, we went with somebody else. And she was so upset. And I'm like, okay, well, how long has it been? She's like, it's been like 4 weeks. Pick up the phone and call. She's like, no, they didn't like me. They didn't like me. It has nothing to do with you. Follow up. There's no need to do any of this interviewing, talking to people if we're not going to follow up. Mm-hmm. And so guess what? So I was like, listen, I can't tell you what to do, but I really think you should. I strongly suggest you do. So she finally did it. And they were like, oh my gosh, yes, you were a great candidate. We wanted somebody internal in the team. And we think that you're going to be a better fit for this other department. They presented her to the other department for the role, and she ended up getting the job, and she's been there for a couple of years now.
So, you've got your own self-talk is going to beat you up. And you can't allow that to happen. And you're making an assumption when you say they don't like me. You don't know. You just spent 30 minutes with them. How do you know they liked you or didn't like you?
Right.
I mean, so what you have to do instead of beating yourself up, build yourself up and say, you know what, they may not have liked me for that job, but there could be something else there. So don't hesitate to let them know, either through email or phone call, whatever it is that it takes. Let them know you're still interested in the company and that you still have things to offer them.
Yeah, it's important that you, again, you have that right mindset going into it, because there's going to be plenty of people in your life to tell you what you're doing wrong in your job search. You need to stay positive and
you really do.
Think about
be your own leader. It'll help you.
That's right. Allison, we're getting close to time, so fun question of the day. No, that's like a good one. Okay. Would you rather go to the beach or go hiking through the woods?
Oh, beach. Because I like snorkeling. I like building sandcastles. I like that wind breeze coming up off the water. I love hiking. I mean, whenever we go anywhere, we always hike. So I do like that, but I really like the beach.
You're from California, though.
You lived there a long time.
Yeah.
What about you?
I
know what you're
hiking.
Jason walks 5 to 7 miles a day.
Yeah. I don't like the beach. I'm not a beach guy at all. Like, I will get out in the waves and splash around with our son, but I would rather not. In fact, the last time we went to the beach, I let Tony and Steph, like, Stephanie's good. She'll get out and play in the water, but she just likes to hang out and lay in the sand and just be calm and and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go explore the little town that we're in right now. I'll see y'all later. And off I go. I would rather just go hike through the woods any day.
I really do enjoy hiking. That's a hard question, to be honest with you. But if I had a choice of hiking for a week or going to the beach for a week, because you can always walk along the beach and find things to do and see and look at. Whereas if you go hiking, it's hard to find the beach.
That's true. That's true. That's the other thing I'll do is just walk up and down the shoreline, just get my steps in.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's been Caffeinate Your Career for this week. Next week, you know what we're doing?
No.
What the topic is?
No.
how do you know when it's time to leave your job?
What a good topic.
So that'll be next week. Let me know if you want to do mock interviews. Email me, jhopper@jfsdallas.org, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.